Okay, welcome to part 2 of my site plan video. Just so you'd think that I'm not doing this off the top of my head at 7 o'clock in the morning. I've got this document posted on Blackboard. I'm kind of using this as a guide. So what we've done is I'm working my way down, not totally in this order, but kind of. So what we want to do is now we're at the point where we either need to move our site box or the building outline to get the right position for the house. So I'm going to move this back off my screen here. Keep an eye on it. So I've got my site. So let me go back to here. I've got my site kind of centered in my big overall site. I've got my setbacks set up. I've got my property lines set up. I've got my overall site that I'm going to use for my renderings, but now I need to get my buildings and everything in the right location on my site. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to move block. I'm going to select my building stuff, and I'm going to turn off cursor lock. Now again, now I can see my building is just not going to even fit on my site here, so I would need to rotate it. But I'm just doing this quick and dirty to show you. Now the beauty of doing this is I'm not messing with my main floor and basement. Since I've got that reference circle in there, which is a super powerful item, everything's going to line up wherever I put these building outlines. All these building outlines are doing are basically just saying, okay, these are where you're going to put the buildings in that 3D site that we're going to do. So I'm going to move them approximately where I want. Let's say I want to have a nice southern yard and I want to set it there. So, and I can go through and get really fine and dimension it, but for now you'll see how I've located them. So I'm going to save what I've done here so I don't have to do this all over again. So if I was doing a detached garage that wasn't modeled in 3D, I could just draw a 24 foot square box and then bring that garage in as a separate thing in my neighborhood. Now if you do it an attached or in a garage with a breezeway, then you've got to all model it together. And so that's kind of what I'm showing here. Now you notice the breezeway doesn't show up, and we can fix that later. If we have time, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so now the beautiful thing about what we've got with this site plan, it's down here in site plans. I can drop that into the model tab. And where does it go? It wants to go way to the bottom. So I right click and I say move down. Okay, so now I go to my 3D site and let's see what happens. Well, first off, I've got auto horizon on. So I think maybe it automatically turns it off. So now I've got my 3D site. This is the one where we're going to put our neighborhood and everything in. Now you'll notice that it comes in at the top of my basement footing, and I want to get it up to the right elevation. Okay, so now I'm kind of following along in 192 of my little Softplan book, and I go back to my site plan. I go to site options. I'm under drawing mode, and I click on building position. And I think I had an 8'8" foundation, and I want to be, so I'm just going to try to make it 8 feet up. So this is how you adjust how big your site is, how high up on your model your site goes. So I hit OK. I go back and look at my 3D texture. Ooh, I did it reversed. So I move my building 8 foot up. I want to move my building 8 foot down. So now let's go back to the site plan. Site options, 8 foot down. Ooh, looks pretty good, doesn't it? So there's my site. It's an actual 3D site. It's not the auto horizon. I can put in other buildings and trees and stuff. If I want to move it, we saw how we did that. So once you've got it in 3D, now you can add driveways, roads, sidewalks. So now I'm going to do a quick driveway. Now again, mine is on the site in a kind of a stupid orientation, but I'm going to draw a driveway. So I'm going to do align center. I'm going to make my driveway 20 feet wide and I'm going to hit OK. Now if I turn on my snap here, I could actually snap it to the center. And then I'm going to draw. So eventually I'm going to have a street out here, so I'm going to draw this farther out. And then I right click to tell it I'm done. Now if I look at it in 3D, I can change that texture. This looks like, maybe that's the way they do it in Rockland. You drive in your house on rocks. But we would probably change that to a concrete or an asphalt texture. We can do the same thing with sidewalks. So if I go back to my basement plan, I'm sorry, my site plan, I go to site work, I go to sidewalk, same deal, 4 feet's pretty reasonable. And I could draw a sight line from there, say my house there, right click and tell it I'm done. See how that looks like in 3D. Ooh, look at that. So you get the picture. And then what we do is, once we get all this drawn, we do a save as, and we save it as our 2D drawing, and then that's the one that goes on working drawings. So I'm going to save everything here so I don't lose what we've done. So we keep the site plan up in the model stack, the 3D one, but then I go back to site plan and I do file, save as, and I'm going to call this 2D site plan, and I hit save. So now I've got a 2D site plan down here. And this one isn't in the model stack. So for this one, I just want it to be nice lines for my working drawings. So I don't need the neighborhood in here. I can erase that. I can draw my street in. If it's not in there in 3D, I can draw that in with lines. If I wanted to draw my breezeway in just so that it would show up on the site plan, I can also go through and put my dimensions so they can locate my house. It's really important to dimension your house. And you can also dimension your setbacks so that they know what we're doing there. I'm going to get rid of the snap here. And you can also dimension how they locate your house. Now in my case, it's 13/16 away from the setback line, which is a little wacky, but you can kind of see how that would work. Let me try another one here. I'll dimension how I locate my house from my setback line. Okay, I think it's enough for a second video. Hopefully this should get you started. You know enough now to at least be dangerous.